that's the wrong audio bar. And welcome back to Doctor Who, Season 3, Episode 12, The Sound of Drums, and Episode 13, The Last of the Time Lords, where, once again, I am joined by my brother Caden.
Hello.
And this has been a cursed one for us.
Yeah.
Over 3 months ago, we watched Utopia, of course, the part 1 of this 3-part. There's probably someone who's like, I was going to say waiting a year. No, they didn't. They waited a week for, this episode after Utopia. Then you, as I recall, had to unexpectedly cancel. Thank you, Alex. Good news. We are live. You had to unexpectedly cancel for some reason. I don't remember.
It was so long ago.
We then had 8 weeks of Ncuti Gatwa, 2 full months. Then I got sick for a cough I am still recovering from and could not do a stream. Then last week, we did do the stream. It went well. We had some great moments. We also had Age of Steel. We're not going to talk about that, but we had some great moments. And then halfway through The Last of the Time Lords, I discovered the fact that we weren't actually live. And I've thought a lot about since just how bad YouTube's thing is at telling, because here's the big one, is that YouTube knows when you're supposed to go live, right? You schedule these streams.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be that there's a go live and an end stream button. That used to be that end stream was red and go live was white. I think they were different colors. Now that's not the case. And because it says go live, when you glance at the button, it still says live on the button, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really bad. I also had a consistent viewer apparently waiting for the stream. But yeah, I didn't notice. But my thing is, right, YouTube knows it's getting data. You can stream to YouTube without going live. It's for setup stuff. YouTube knows when the stream's supposed to start. YouTube should, yell at you. If it's been receiving data for, a minute or two after the stream's supposed to start and you're not live, it should yell at you. It should have a big pop-up. Hey, did you know? Did you know this? Anyway. Yes, now we are live this time, unless my wife is messing with me. But,
let's not count our chickens before they hatch.
Oh, and, of course, I wasn't doing the backup recording, because this has happened before. And I always record the live streams in case stuff goes wrong. Especially for these watch-alongs, it's very important the time is in sync. So, if I lost internet or something, we could just upload it, and I've done that before. I think I've done that for Doctor Who before. But my hard drive was full. And it's not full now. I finally fixed that problem. But yeah, that was bad. So hopefully we can recreate all the good moments. No.
Yeah, except we gotta let the best one go, I suppose.
The plan is to do both of them.
Age of Steel.
Sound of the Drums and Last Time Lords. We might not, because as I said, I get these nasty lingering coughs. I'm under cough medication, and it's been getting better. But there you go, there's one. That might just get untenable, and I might just have to go. I wanted this out of the way. I want to tell Alex that they can make the next thumbnail, which I could have done, a month ago, but I'm lazy. And I want this one out of the way,
Yeah.
It is shockingly just a better reality war in Wish Worlds. We talked a lot about this on stream before, when we were actually live, how relevant Season 3 seemed to be. And there's discussions, set all throughout Season 2 airing, or, Russell T. Davies 1, not to get too much into, Modern Who. There's been the occasional, every few months, I'll see someone who's I'm actually really enjoying Russell T. Davies 2. Don't get me wrong, I'm liking it. But I put on, it's usually a Matt Smith. I put on a random Matt Smith episode, and it was just so much better. And I'm the quality difference is kind of this is the same league as to the idiot who writes it now. Don't know who that is, but God, way better, way worse than this guy. Yeah. No, but it's been good. I mean, I enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're doing, I will get into that before we get into the ramble. And don't worry, this is going to be shorter than last time that you didn't see. We are watching, or essentially recording an audio commentary track live. That is the wrong key binding. So, for legal reasons, of course, I can't just stream an episode of Doctor Who. So we, in a little bit, it's bring your own video. In a little bit, we're going to do a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I will play a blurred version in the background, and we'll basically stay synced up. We'll start with the sound of drums, and as long as nobody pauses, we'll all be good and synced up. The problem with Doctor Who specifically is that there are essentially 2 versions of every episode. Except this is the story where I finally have to explain that I've been lying and that there are 3. There are the original UK broadcast. If you sat down at a television in the UK and watched Doctor Who, that's what you would have seen. That is probably like, the true quote-unquote form of the episode, right? Because it's a British show. The American version is exactly the same. Or rather, what we've been calling the American version is exactly the same, except it is about 4% slower for frame rate reasons that are, trust me, you just don't want to get into. But it's about 4% slower. That is what we are watching, because I have the American copy of the complete David Tennant collection on Blu-ray, and that's what we watch. However, because the BBC does not have commercials and is also broadcasting shorter episodes, because the American version is 4% slower, it's 4% longer. Because they're fitting those episodes into probably about hour time slots. And the Americans are also, 45-minute time slots. Americans are also doing that for longer episodes with commercials. Sometimes the American broadcast version, if you sat down day 1 to watch Doctor Who in America, you would get a cut down version. Until this point, I don't think that's mattered. Maybe there was like a brief scene, but it probably wouldn't have gotten you out of sync enough to matter. Here, it really matters, and I think more so the next episode. The Americans are just slow, you can say it. Technically, which way does it go? It's the frame rates, I think, in the UK are like 25 frames per second, but basically everywhere else it's 24 point something that we call 24, and old TVs couldn't handle that conversion, but it doesn't really matter now, except sometimes it still affects people. Like my TV can't play the imported Ncuti Gatwa seasons, even though they're not region locked, and this is why you didn't want me to get started. Trust me. You could, people study this. You could go to college for why Doctor Who is 4% slower in America. But anyway, the point is, back in the day, most streaming services had the American broadcast version. If you're on iPlayer, I assume it's the British one. I don't know. But everywhere else seemed to be the American one that was cut down. People complain about the slowness. That's another thing. But the cutscenes are a big deal. However, over time, I think about a decade ago, people started correcting that. Like the streaming services were realizing what was happening, and they got actual full-length versions of the episode that are still seeming, I assume, American. If German Amazon is broadcasting American Doctor Who, then yes, and I think the frame rate thing is just a UK thing. But if you're getting like substantially off from us, especially the next episode, that is why. And I'll call it out because I know a lot of the scenes next episode. But also let us know, whatever streaming service you use, where we are. Because I think I'm watching what's like what most people have. I'd be very curious about iPlayer. But also, technically it doesn't matter because this is what I own. Like, this is what we're going to watch. But it's good to know. It's good to tell people that they'll be right outside of Germany and America. Um, Caden, you got... Oh, I got something, too, for a bit of chit-chat, as people who somehow haven't sat up through all that can get set up. On the Reddit, I was on the Reddit this morning, and I saw a good point. I don't think we brought up in our stream about Reality War, where the Time Lords are all minor lore or spoilers, I guess, for like the newest Doctor Who. The Time Lords are all sterile now, right?
Yeah.
There's an explosion and they're sterile. And both the Doctor and Ronnie knew this, which implies at some point they checked. And for the Ronnie, I get that. She's a biologist. She's trying to bring back the Time Lords. Sure. But how did the Doctor know? Does he just know? Like, do you feel it in your bones or something? Because I might have called this out and forgotten it because it is weird. But I might have just been too weirded out by the whole revelation. Because there aren't any other Time Lords. They're all dead.
Maybe it was through his adventures in the Age of Steel.
No, we're not going to talk about your summary of the Age of Steel. I think people can get it, but you're not allowed.
Well, that's just a guess.
No.
You raised a good point.
No, I think people can work it out. The Age of Steel. We'll get an uncut in like 5 years if you manage to make it to the end of watching Doctor Who. But you have reminded me, I have to again describe these next episodes. I have to introduce them as I usually do. And for the people who might have been disappointed by my work in the Ncuti Gatwa season, the titles were bad. I have a lot of titles planned out for like the next month. Because I have to write, I know the synopsis, but I have to write them out, and remember them.
Of course.
So, look forward to that. But The Sound of Drums, we, of course, talked about over 3 months ago. So as a refresher, you remember in Utopia, there was the big villain guy, not the big, just a tiny random future kind. That's what they're called. He was like a master electrician. He used concussive maintenance to pull out the wires and stuff.
I do.
And now the Doctor and Martha are stranded with a broken vortex manipulator. And so The Sound of Drums is just an hour of the future kind banging away, concussive maintenance. Every time I've done that, I've knocked the mic over. On Jack's vortex manipulator, and the titular sound of drums is the banging sounds from when you're hitting the vortex manipulator for an hour.
Yeah.
And then they fix it, concussive maintenance. I am a software engineer. Which is an engineer, of course. Last of the Time Lords, you have already watched half of it, but to not spoil anything, because you still haven't gotten to the ending, I want to maintain... try not to spoil, but still give a little bit of a tease to the episode. That's the structure we live with. And so in the end, it's revealed that the Master isn't actually like the Master Time Lord. He's just like another dude named the Master. And the whole thing is a massive misunderstanding. And once that cleared up, he's like, oh man, I'm sorry. I killed Martha Jones and your dad, and he just leaves, and they have a good laugh about it, and then we're done.
Drink some tea, yeah.
Wow,
that's a real positive. They really learn the value of friendship, and they get together.
I swear I actually had a different version of he wasn't actually the Master, because you already heard that one, and I forgot about it until I started introducing the episode. I do not remember what I came up with.
Yeah, no, I think you did great. That was beautiful.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I think, unless you got anything, we can probably roll straight into it.
Well, I mean, we could make I think last time there was a Who announcement about some school show for children.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I don't remember.
I won't go nearly in depth into that as I did last time. But the BBC is looking for a studio interested in animating a spin-off Doctor Who for preschoolers. I think it's pronounced Seabees for the BBC's preschool baby kid channel. That would be the equivalent of 13 45-minute episodes, but it's 50-something 11-minute. I don't remember what it is. But that could be interesting. I mean, it's probably won't be like a Steven Universe or something that like all the adults watch because it is toddlers. But hey, it might be fun if you've got like toddlers, or it could still be fun if they get like Jody. People said could be great for that. That might be interesting. It might be interesting. And I swear there was another bit, a Doctor Who.
I also
news.
feel like there was. I don't know what it was.
What, did you see it? I feel like
no.
it's
I
been
remember
this
last
week.
time, like 2 weeks ago. I feel like we talked about 2 things.
Doctor Who news. I had something I was gonna say, and then I've immediately. Peter Davison said that new Doctor Who is lacking narrative. What did he say? Narrative. He said it could be better, basically. And everyone on the internet was like, "Yeah." Well, nothing's really coming up in Doctor Who news aside from Peter Davison, so
Well,
who knows? Is there nothing?
I suppose that's all there
what
is.
was I gonna say to carry us? Oh, fine. Doctor Who Reddit. One quick look. Caden's gonna. Oh yeah, Jodie Whittaker's stuff comes out within the next week on Big Finish on Wednesday. The 13th Doctor adventures come out on Big Finish, and a lot of people interested in that. So I would say it. Happy birthday, Leela Wallard. And I'm not seeing any big headlines on the Reddit. So I think you're just wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
As a
It's happened
filthy,
before.
disgusting casual that you are. Ooh, look at those Virgin New Adventures.
If only there was a recording we could look back on to see what we might have talked about.
Well, who would just record the conversations they have? Those
Yeah,
are private.
that's
You think
weird
I just
behavior.
have like terabytes of recorded conversations we've had?
That'd be strange.
That'd be strange. Gosh. Anyway, shall we begin? As
shall.
I said before, we're gonna do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And on go, everybody's gonna hit play. Only took us 17 minutes to get here. And I should get the blurred episode back. Come to think that
Look at
I've
the
not...
hard drive too.
Did I? Hang on. Did I actually? Yeah, wake up the hard drive. Okay, I did set up OWPS. Don't hit play. I've just got to make sure my hard drive's awake because it often falls asleep. It has been doing better.
I'm so proud of it.
I don't know why. It's the same old hard drive just on the floor. But yeah, it's learned. All right, as before, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and on go we hit play. I said it the wrong way around too. I need to not start with the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. In fact, maybe it's good it didn't work last week, because I think I was so bad I didn't even look at an actual timer. I just winged the countdown. So
we were getting the rust off.
Yep.
This is going to be the first time I've gone back and seen an episode since we started rewatched it, other than the new stuff.
We're not going to pay attention at all. I even debated just starting the episode and then doing our ramble.
Maybe we'll remember a really funny quip that we had and, bring it back this second time around.
I don't think we're gonna try and fake the original reactions, but I'll definitely tell you about your Caden's great.
I will have to talk about the trauma that happened when I re-met
Caden
the old,
was traumatized.
Oof, the old Doctor.
But no spoilers. Man, I can't wait till we get to River Song and I'll remember to do the spoiler joke.
Ooh.
You remember, right? How River Song always says spoilers. That's the joke.
I don't.
No, really? She's like,
I'm sure
spoilers.
I will.
She does it in a exaggerated, entertained, but I kind of feel she's trying to be sexy way too. She goes spoiler, and so it's really hard. I can't mimic it. I don't have a sexy voice in my arsenal. I could do the Valley Girl spoilers.
There's many people out there that would. We hold. We do not need to bring back the Valley Girl.
All right, you don't bring up Age of Steel. I won't do the Valley Girl.
It sounds like a good deal.
But This did surprise me, right? Throughout the whole episode, you never remember the like bum knocking.
Yeah, I never really did.
That's amazing. Like you were a fan of Doctor Who. You had even seen more Doctor Who than me at one point, if you can imagine. But
is that true?
Yeah, because you went all the way. I swear, we've like kind of changed mine, but I swear when we talked about this as kids, I had determined you had stopped the episode before Time of the Doctor. So like you might have stopped at Day of the Doctor or the one before that. Yeah, I remember you were like just before everything got like answered and 11 regenerated.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, now we think it's Invasion of the Dinosaurs. That's still like right before he regenerates.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also had the line where David Tennant said he would just always know who the Master is, or like the Time Lords just always know each other.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that one in the back pocket for all the times it's contradicted. In fact, I mean, I guess when like the Master meets a new Doctor, he recognizes him. I think every other time it's contradicted. No, that's not fair. In Classic Who, you get like Barusa and some stuff. Classic Who is funny because, you know, the Time Lords are like archivists, right? They sit in there on Gallifrey and like just talk about cribbage or whatever. And, but in Classic Who, we actually visit Gallifrey. It did enough, you know, that there are some recurring characters like Barusa or whatever. I think literally every episode he's in, Barusa's played by a different actor. Because they're just like, he regenerated. You know, you can do that. But it creates the problem. Like, what kind of chaotic life is Barusa living that he's dying more than the Doctor?
He's a busy man, you know?
He's like the president's secretary or something, as far as I recall. Like, what's he doing?
Did we ever get to understanding who the Master's wife is in these episodes?
She's just
a person, right?
Yeah, but you brought up a point. Why does he have a wife?
There's like 20 minutes in the episode I didn't see, but as far as I know, it never really went anywhere. He just has a wife.
I've never heard someone bring this up, actually. Because the Master also in the classics is like, there's nothing romantic.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to imagine a classic Master like in a romance, but that's just because he's a mustache twirling campy villain. And like, I can't imagine him outside that role. Could you imagine going on a date with a stereotypical mustache twirling villain?
I would love to see how that played out.
I just can't imagine him outside that frame. But yeah, maybe it's appearances. There's a great joke. I don't think we'll watch it on stream. I might show it to you. Where the charity special for this episode is the 5th Doctor and the 10th Doctor. And the 10th Doctor mentions to the 5th, like, oh, the Master just came back, and the Doctor's 5 is like, oh, not him again. Like, does he still have that awful beard? In reference to, of course, his goatee. And the 10th Doctor's like, no, well, a wife. And so maybe that's why he has a wife. It's his beard. Yeah, so that people don't know he's gay. It's a great joke. This is one of my reactions I love from you coming up. Because you said you missed these rooms, right? You felt like...
Yeah.
But what did you feel like?
Well, just, the different tone and aesthetic of, like, back at, like, Rose's apartment we picked apart to bits when we were watching it. And then Ruby's, it was just fine. It just kind of felt like an apartment. But now we're back in the clutter of, like, the early 2000s. You
even said the phrase, like... You just don't get apartments like this in the new series. I'm like, what do you mean? Belinda lived in, like, some flat with 3 people, and it was messy and, like, fairly...
And then I said
it wasn't rich, at least. And, you said it doesn't count, because it, like, got destroyed. And Caden, if I got some bad news for you.
I
can't
know
remember
now,
your
I spoke too
reaction, but
soon.
you just had like a, oh no.
It's so comedic too. The most comedic looking
It is the
destructive
bomb.
bomb. It's so funny.
You know, I'm liking this episode because I think it's the most like an actual director's commentary we've ever done. Have you ever seen a real director's commentary?
I've never. I know bits and pieces.
I've
seen more
one
video game directors' commentaries. I watch those all the time.
I've watched one for the Doctor Who TV movie because I've heard a lot of people say it was like one of the best ones they've ever heard. Which, I mean, I enjoyed watching the director's commentary. I don't know if I'd go that far. Maybe director's commentaries are just really bad. But it's a lot of just like, you're not watching the show at all. And every now and then, there's a dull in the conversation, and someone talks about the movie. And
yeah, I get a lot of clips of commentaries that I see bits and pieces of. They seem interesting enough. I think ours is the best.
Yeah.
Of all time.
I want to watch director's commentary for the new stuff, but like in 20 years when everyone can talk about it freely, you know? Then again, I'm still waiting to hear from Christopher Eccleston what the hell went down in season 1, so.
The Call of Duty. My beliefs.
Call of Duty,
I'm looking at things on the outside of the screen now, like the little stuff.
That's good, yeah. You should always look at and like the scrolling text at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Those windows still remind me of the Square Enix logo. You know the Square Enix.
What are these folders?
Meet Lucy's Action. In fact, I'm pretty sure back in this day, the BBC actually made these fake websites. So you could have
cool. I like that.
Wayback Machine this. Let's go meet Lucy Saxon. Figure out who she is.
Yeah, this scene and setup where she like knows made me think she was gonna be a part of the master scheme.
Well, she is, but like she was just a person, you know.
But yeah.
Did the master hypnotize her into liking him?
But then, like, why? You know?
That is weird. I get the same thing where, you know, how the Ronnie was like, that's like dating a cow or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel the same, like, with the master. I can't provide an example, but I feel like he's even critical of the Doctor's pets, you know, as he calls them. It is a bit odd, but maybe it's something about appearances. Like, have we ever had a president who wasn't married? I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe it has to be with being prime minister.
Like, the whole point is that he wasn't actually elected. He hypnotized everyone, you know? If he actually had to, like, get power, I'd believe it. Because there's a lot of weird crap you hear about, like, oh, I would never elect someone who wasn't married. It's like, what? Why not? Maybe it's the pearls. Maybe it's the wealth. I think that's why Lucy did it. I feel like there might be some lines about that. You know, she wanted the power, but I still don't know why he wanted it. Maybe he's like, I want to be like the Doctor, you know? That's a bit of a thing you get with the Master every now and then. Saxon, I always think of saxophone every time someone says his name. And I try and work the connection like he literally means saxophone, and I've never been able to actually tie a meaning to the word Saxon, but it feels so much... Oh, wait, yes, it is. Saxon's a, gosh, people are gonna get angry. It's a group of people in England... or northern France, and I don't remember which. But it's not a saxophone.
I think in the opening of the next episode, it should have been a musical scene, but he should have been playing a saxophone, dancing around.
You know the Simpsons intro?
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And I said last time, I think this one goes a bit too much into comedy. especially for an otherwise dark episode. I mean, actually, he is... I don't think it's illegal to hypnotize everyone into voting for you, right? Like, yeah. In the same way that the Death Star isn't actually a weapon of mass destruction legally. It's just too advanced, you know? They voted for him. Like, what are they gonna do? I guess a vote of no confidence. It is 2008. That is more feasible than nowadays.
How's the Death Star not a weapon of mass destruction?
Well, because a weapon of mass destruction... It's the Space Treaty, is what it's called. It's like the internet. It's a UN treaty. It's called the Space Treaty. I don't remember the official name, but it forbids weapons of mass destruction in space, like near Earth orbit, anywhere in space. And it specifically defines weapons of mass destruction is like nuclear weapons. I think kinetic weapons. You can look it up, but it's like very specific what a weapon of mass destruction is. And a laser is not a weapon of mass destruction. Therefore, the Death Star, legal, not a weapon of mass destruction. Of course, if someone tried to build one, they might amend the law. And in real life, I don't think realistically, a laser's not the Death Star. But, you know. I bet we could expand the law to a point where the sun is illegal. You know,
I could see it.
Hydrogen bomb. Weapon of mass destruction. God, I'm imagining someone saying, we can't write this law, then the sun's illegal. We gotta get rid of the sun. Is that, any English people, is that actually like where the Prime Minister gives speeches? That'd be cool. Like, you know the Oval Office?
Yeah.
Where the president gives the speeches. That's always confused me when she crosses her fingers. Do you think that's like, is she superstitious, or is that how you get past Archangel or something? I wonder if there's a cut scene that goes into that. That's why when we're done, we need to rewatch Doctor Who watch-alongs, but with director's commentary on. And then we'll comment over that.
And then we can loop back in the end.
Yeah. Well, the other idea is to just watch along our old streams on loop, and so we just get more and more layers of audio. You know this, because I mentioned in the stream that never was, but the Toclophane, well, basically, the BBC does not own the rights to the Daleks. They're owned by the Terry Nation estate. Terry Nation being the man who created them back in the 60s. So there was concern that they wouldn't get the Daleks for the original one. Oh, here we get your dynamite. I love it. That's the camp I want. I still stand. That's what Shooty Gadwa needed a comical TNT. Look at that. It even says dynamite on it.
It is. I can appreciate its beauty, expecting it.
There you go. That's what's great with watching Classic Who with Alex. I never know what gets them. Sometimes I'm like waiting for the silly monster to come up, and they're like, that's fine. And then other times they show a monster that I'm like, I don't know, it's like a Silurian or something. I'm like, it's gonna be cool. That's well done. And then they just like die laughing. I'm like, what's wrong with that? Never know. But no, the Toclophane were originally gonna be the race the Time Lords fought. And destroyed Gallifrey. Dalek, the episode, would have been about a Toclophane, and I just would have been so much worse. So I'm very glad we got the Daleks. Also, shout outs to Martha's dad, who I really like this scene. He's just like, yeah, because you get it a lot in media, but I'm really tired of it of Doctor Who. It's always like, I'm going to destroy the whole ass universe slowly and painfully. Doctor's like, I'll never help you. It's like, well, I'll tickle your companion's nose. And they're like, no, okay, I'll help. It's better if everyone dies than you tickle my companion's nose. And so I'm like it's a little different, because in a way, this guy is protecting his family. That just is. It's basically the same thing. But I think the difference is In Doctor Who, it feels like you're doing it so the plot can happen, right?
Yeah.
The Doctor Who is helping because the plot kind of can't just have him say no. But in this, it's creating like an impediment. It's creating a block. It's creating stakes. And like technically, it's so the plot can happen. They need Martha on the run, but it feels a lot more natural, and it actually makes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels it's better done.
Forgot about the beautiful Martha car stuntage, whipping around in that beauty of a vehicle.
You wait till you see Bessie in the I'm amazed that we got through Shooty Gadwa's era without Russell T Davies bringing back Bessie. Have I told you about Bessie?
I think.
I'll show you
Is that
a
the yellow?
picture.
Is there a yellow car?
That's the yellow car. Yeah.
Who's that? Oh yeah, I know it.
I'm amazed. I'm convinced the only reason we haven't brought back Bessie is no one can find a car that they can make look like Bessie. But the real one's in like a museum somewhere. You know, I've never thought about this. Torchwood has a secret entrance in Cardiff. I don't know where they are now, maybe London, but I wonder if he could hide in there, or if the Master knows where the Torchwood HQ is. I like, because the Prime Minister's not supposed to know about Torchwood, but Harriet did, and like the Master's the Master, you know?
Yeah.
Minus 100 trillion years, actually. They've never met. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I really like... Oh, go ahead.
I like this scene that's about to happen. I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah. No, I really like the phone call. And it's why Sim's Master is good, because you see below the kind of surface of madness is much more that sort of classic style, that genius, that real person. I feel like the subsequent Masters lose that.
The Doctor chose his name?
I mean, he kind of had to. The Time Lords have, like, normal names.
Yeah.
Like, there's various things. This is a scene that kind of establishes almost some sort of naming ceremony where it kind of answers the, like, Smurf question of, like, do they get their name at birth or are they assigned it when, like, you know who they are? And so I guess it, like, they decide who they want to be and they choose their name. But, like, you know, the Doctor has had some actual name for ages that's not the Doctor. That we'll never know. Well, they tried to tell us once.
I thought we did know it.
They did tell us once. It's like Sigma is something. It's a bunch of random Greek crap that got retconned to hell into being a school nickname, but was absolutely intended to be the Doctor went to Gallifrey and someone recognized him and went, "Hey, your name." And yeah. Basil's another fun one. The Doctor claims his real name is Basil a lot. A future Master claims his real name is Doctor Who.
I like that.
Yep. Place your bets, Davies, Moffat, or Chibnall. Who decided to write that one? It was Moffat on his way out the door.
Oh, on the way out.
Yep. Second to last episode, I think.
Man, making his
Third
mark.
to last, yeah. I really like the Master's reaction to the destruction of Gallifrey, too. He's like, I gotta remember that. I might do it someday. But I'm also amazed, because David Tennant started with, like, a Lion King reference, remember? Way back on, like, the Sycorax ship. He quoted the Lion King. Every time he gives that line, is like, we've got each other. I always think he's gonna break out and live in on a prayer. And I'm amazed there's not a joke. Like, it has to have been cut. You're gonna forget the drumming again in like a week.
Probably.
I do really like Sim's take in that we got this drum. The whole drumming thing is a big arc. It's going to last more than this episode. But you could take the justification for the madness of the character. I think he does really well. A lot of my favorite villains in Doctor Who have been mad. Perhaps my favorite Doctor Who villain is Big Finish's Word Lord. It sounds silly. Nobody No One is his name. He's in a few stories.
I've heard you say that.
I love Nobody No One. But Nobody No One's second incarnation is very much a Jom Sim-like insanity, but like he has the power of a god. And that's terrifying. And there's a brilliant scene where it's built up amazingly, but he just snaps his fingers and turns the sun off. And they're like in a park, and you hear the like silence fall for like a few seconds, and then like slowly the screams of like the people in London start filling because someone just turned the sun off. And I thoroughly recommend the Nobody No One Big Finish stories. It's hard to tell what Nobody No One is because his first one in particular, it's kind of like Blink, where if you know about the Weeping Angels, it's not as good going in. But Nobody No One is a fantastic, and I love his second incarnation. Hey, I don't remember her name. Trinity Wells? Is it Trinity Wells?
I don't know. Oh, I forgot about the Teletubbies.
You forgot about the Teletubbies. You even had some great... I think you said you'd want to evolve to have a television in your tummy. I swear you said this.
I could see that coming out of my mouth.
I think it might have been this episode of Doctor Who that made me realize the Teletubbies are called that because they have televisions in their tummies. I was too old when I realized that. And it was genuinely like an earth-shattering moment. I don't know if I ever watched the Teletubbies as a kid. I don't think I have any emotional ties to the Teletubbies outside this story. I've seen the Teletubbies as a kid, but I don't know if I ever really watched it. I was into Dora.
I don't think I saw him as Yo Gabba Gabba, Team Umi Zoomy.
You did watch Yo. I remember that because I was old enough to remember when you were a kid.
I was not.
You're younger enough than me that the stuff you watched as a toddler, I had no fond memories on, so I thought they were lame before going to school. Yeah. If you were watching like Rugrats, maybe that would have been fun. You did dox us in this scene though, so it's good we didn't transmit that because you mentioned our meetings to discuss Doctor Who in abandoned warehouses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that the people don't know about that.
That keep that under lock and key.
Yeah. We just meet in the middle of Washington State and Florida. And just, so somewhere in Nebraska, we meet up to talk about Doctor Who. Fun fact.
Basically one big abandoned building.
Yeah. Just Nebraska. Did you just call Nebraska one big abandoned building?
It's wow.
Wow. Anyway, Martha's line there, like she thought it was going to be revealed they were brothers or something. A shocking number of the attempted reboots of Doctor Who for like 8th and 9th Doctor were that. Well, I guess they would have been the first Doctor. But so many of the original TV movie pitches had that. God, I love Gallifrey. Have I shown you Big Finish recently? They've done a Gallifrey series for ages. They had like a Short Trips cover art to celebrate like 20 years of Gallifrey.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
God, I'll have to put that on stream after this. It is beautiful. It's just like the Capitol Dome with the Time Lord arch thingies behind it. I don't know what you'd call them, but collars. I love those. It takes, I think, till the 4th Doctor, till the Time Lords get that look, but God, I love it. And there's kind of a divide, the people who grew up with classics, not universally, but a lot of them think the Time Lords are, like, lame, and that you literally couldn't get a good story out of them if you tried, which is baffling, because go listen to Big Finish's, like, first run of Gallifrey stories. It's one of the best things they've ever done. And then there's the new people who grew up on this, where for like 10 years, Gallifrey was David Tennant's amazing speeches staring into the distance. And it really, I think that and audio really do the Time Lords justice a lot of times. But heck, I also like a lot of classic Time Lord stuff.
Forgot about his judgment.
Man, you forgot everything.
Yeah, for someone who's seen this episode, I'm forgetting just as much as I normally do.
We talk over all of it. I'd really be curious to kind of rewatch Torchwood with that I Did It For You in Your Honor. Because, like, he kind of did it just to get a lift from the Doctor again.
Music, photos, movies. Confirmed Martha Jones is a pirate.
Isn't this is Jax, though? You know what that stands for, Torchwood.
Oh, well, I believe that.
Yeah. The first episode of Torchwood introduces you to the cast of Torchwood. Can I say this on the Doctor Who stream? I think I can. One of the introductions, is it Owen? We're introduced to Owen by him having stolen some of the alien text Torchwood's supposed to keep under guard and using it to sexually assault a woman. And I literally have never had a character become so irredeemable so quickly than Owen's introductory sequence in Torchwood. And they try and sympathize him later. They try to get me to care. I think I actually looked up if he died in Win after the first episode, because I didn't know if I could watch the show with Owen in it.
Oh my!
And I was counting down the days. Yeah, that's what Torchwood's like. I mean, Jack disapproved, but
that's not good for Jack.
It's okay though. He used to have a wife.
Jack disapproved. It doesn't sound like Jack's actor would disapprove.
Jack is kind of different in Torchwood and Doctor Who. Also, to be fair to John Barrowman, he's not as bad as like basically any other canceled celebrity you've ever heard of. He's like a different league, but he's still bad.
I love how they do with the camera.
He was just an idiot, really, who refused to accept that he was an idiot. Like, that's his crime. Now, Mickey, on the other hand. I'll say it again, because I love every chance to talk about this. If you don't really understand the whole, like, perception filters thing, you think they're crazy. I honestly think this is the most believable thing in Doctor Who. I encourage anyone to look into, like, perception-related disabilities and stuff until you understand just how crazy perception can be. Face blindness, I don't remember the name. There's the one where you can only see stuff on, like, the left or right side of the vision. Well, no, perception. You can see it, but you don't perceive it. And I always like the example of, like, when you're in a dark room and there's a coat on the wall, but you see an intruder or someone standing on by the wall. No, you didn't. You always saw a coat. You perceived an intruder until suddenly it became a coat.
When I'm going to bed a lot of the time, there'll be like through my window, the kind of light of moon glow, and that's it. And so I can't see like any color and everything's all weird and blurry. But if I look at the tattoo on my forearm, it looks like I have a horrific injury because I just can't make it out at all. But I can stare directly at it, and like what I'm perceiving and seeing is my arm horrifically injured.
Ever since you moved to Florida, I feel like you've just gotten wild, you know? You've just gotten wild. You're like our
That's what
uncle.
I do that
who
a
bought
lot,
the
and I'll just
school
look at my
bus.
arm because it's so weird.
I'm not gonna name him, but you're like our uncle who bought that school bus. You know.
I'm
Oh
following
God,
in those footsteps.
now it's my turn. I forgot just how good of a representation of an American president this guy is.
Yeah.
Hi, Lucy. I feel like he's got a good accent too.
Yeah, he's very.
If this was an American production and they chose that was the president, I'd laugh at it.
Yeah.
But because it's like almost satirical, but because it's a foreign production, it's like, yeah.
Perfect.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's just, yeah, that's what it is. No American would actually write that president as anything other than satire.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah. I do find this funny, though, where they're like, it's too late to pull out. It's like, God, what do you mean? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, you could just pull out. You could stop that day one. In fact, he cancels the broadcast himself later on. He pauses it for a minute. I feel like everyone would react negatively if this actually happened. There'd be some, like, patriots, and then everyone would be like, what the heck, America?
To, like, what's gonna happen, or the idea of announcing aliens?
Just America taking the, like, thing over from the UK. I mean, that's ignoring the fact that we do actually have UN guidelines for first contact with alien races, and it is not a world leader who does that discussion. It's a UN official. So, you know, it'd probably be illegal.
Didn't we just, like, take the Gulf of Mexico? I feel like we could take aliens.
You know what? Trump would probably tell you we took the Gulf of Mexico by calling it a different name. Yeah, we took the Gulf of Mexico and we took over the aliens in the same way a kid in the playground says that that's their sandbox.
Yeah.
You know? You know, what if, right? This is what I'd do if I'm a companion. I'd sit down with the doctor, right? What about, like, a stun gun, you know? I get the no violence. I get, you know, you don't want to harm people. But, like, a tranq dart, some sort of stun, you know, they're called stun weapons, but, like, are they... You get what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, just stun the master. Less people die. Also, reminder that they designed, built, and launched this thing within a year.
Yeah.
Which is laughable. Ripping off Marvel since 2006. Nailed it.
Planes on that. I wonder, could the plane land on that short of a runway?
Well, like, what's the scale? Maybe the plane is correct. Oh, wait, I get what you're saying, actually. Probably not, but I know aircraft carrier ships are kind of like special built to...
But they don't get... I mean, that was a commercial. That was a big plane.
Yeah, that was a big... But I don't know, like, does Air Force One have special takeoff and landing clearance?
Good point. If they could make the Valiant, maybe they updated their Boeings.
Don't they also, like, catch fighter jets that land on aircraft carriers? Is that just
They do, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. I know they launched them. Right. They, like,
Doctor Who saved.
Them. They just catch a 7... I bet you could. I bet if you really wanted to, you could design a runway to catch a commercial aircraft in that manner.
I'll bet if you needed it, if you fought.
But, like, it's better to build a bigger runway, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what we do. But, like, if you're a flying runway, maybe it's not better. Yeah, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the Valiant's just like a... It's a terrible idea. If it landed, it's a good idea, right? You could move your runway. That's great, right? An aircraft carrier on land. But this thing's probably over like London right now, right?
Yeah.
If you shoot it down, that's just going to fall on London. That's bad.
Yeah. That's not good.
That's bad. Okay, let's imagine the future, like the unit tower with those big guns it's got, you know?
Yeah.
It
easy.
shoots down like an enemy Valiant. That's on London now.
Yeah.
Man. I will have to get another notebook to fill out all the valid points Conrad has. If it weren't for that one episode, I feel like people would complain. You'd hear a lot less about problems with the new era. But I mean those ones in good jest. Oh, remember, this is Sutek too. I think we forgot to point out last time. How do you think Sutek's doing?
Scared.
Scared. Afraid.
I don't remember what the paradox machine is.
It means...
Oh, I do.
Yeah. There you go.
Kind of. I was confused at the time anyways, but I get it a little. I remember it has to do with the humans.
Oh, spoilers.
Usually I'm the only person who hasn't seen the episode.
I was going to say I'd take the day off for First Contact. But actually I wouldn't. I'd just watch it on my monitor because everyone would accept no one's working on First Contact Day, you know? God. Just hate presidents. He's the picture. If anyone ever asks me, what do other countries think of America? I feel like you just need to show them this guy. Because I also feel if I showed them every scene with this guy, they wouldn't see a problem. The average American would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think he's so good. Is like the whole opening with fellow Americans, patriots, and then people of the world. Doesn't he mention like Jesus at some point? Or like, oh yeah, if it's God's will, I can be your master. I'm like,
yeah.
He's such an American president. He's also just kind of bored, which I appreciate. Not that presidents are bored, but they don't exactly have... No one ever gets like, oh, I could listen to the president speak for hours, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Honestly, that might be better for the country if, like, the president had Markiplier's voice or something. I don't know how. I wonder if you could correlate the quality of your representative's voice versus, like, how informed their constituents are. That'd be great. And then
the doctor right here
yeah.
is going to put the key around the doctor's neck to cancel out his perception so people see him. Oh, yeah, that bit's weird. Yeah, no,
that's just a Russell T. Davies.
Doesn't make any sense.
One thing is hypnosis and one thing is perception. So, like, but it's a thing of, like, I'm sure you could build some device that does that, but it is weird that the key does two totally different things depending on who's wearing it, seemingly. Like, you could have justified it more, but
now
it's a minor.
Okay, because what's the plan? Because now everyone in the room can now see him for who he is.
Can
immediately,
they, I guess?
Clearly, they're terrified of him.
Well, he did just shoot the...
Yeah, but now they know he's crazy.
He literally did just declare war on the United States. Like...
And now they don't like him. And so this is what the doctor wanted.
I think that's fair, you know?
It's like, no one's on this guy's side anymore immediately, except for his bodyguards.
Very few people are in favor of war with the United States. Especially in the UK. A reminder that never goes anywhere. I'm not saying I would want to go to war with the UK. But, like, I feel something has to happen. I don't even know. I kind of feel like there is a world where we just walk away from it because no one knows what to do. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine, like, a close ally just assassinating the president? Oh, God, I forgot Lazarus was important.
Yeah. Now he's gonna get old.
Yeah, so this was great where I asked you, like, oh, do you have any thoughts about an old doctor? You haven't reacted. Well, and you were like, well...
I brought up, I was like, I have one vague recollection of at some point the doctor gets super old and tiny and weird.
Oh, good, you do remember something about this episode.
It was
And you
horrible.
just had
I
a
still haven't
brilliant...
seen the scene I specifically remember,
yeah.
and I'm afraid for it.
You had a brilliant just... Oh, no. It was... God, that was so good. Can you tell my water bottle's run out? I've got this jar of salsa, pineapple salsa, but it probably won't help. Miss Renfro's pineapple salsa is actually really good. Here he goes.
He's old.
Could you imagine if the 14th Doctor looked like that? That'd be great. I really like Martha's theme. And we talked about this last time. I feel this set is better than, like, the unit one. And even though it's similarly tiered... Well, this isn't even a big set. I think I guess it's big for, like, sets, but it's not huge. I think it's mostly the use of the space. And if you were to stand in here, that set is probably about as big as the room I'm in right now. You know my basement? I'm, like, maybe a little big, but, like, I feel it's not actually that big if you were standing there. It's a lot of good direction.
It's just tall, too.
But I like the levels. It really adds a lot. Like, every time he goes up to talk down to everyone, it's super effective. It's why the 12th Doctor's TARDIS is the best, is because it has 3 levels, and he's always walking around them, and there's a lot of motion and good stuff like that. Can't wait till you see it. And we're spending a lot of the budget on pop songs as well, too. Something I don't think Moffat ever did. Maybe outside of Christmas, of course. I can't tell if that's a lot or not. For the end of the
I mean, were there 6 billion people at the end of the world with him?
I don't think... That's about the population of Earth in 2006. I think it might be a little low. But did that rocket hold 6 billion people? Well, the thing is, you could actually fit the population of Earth in a shockingly small space.
Oh, yeah.
If you just piled us all up, it's really not that big of a pile. If you gave us the, like, population density of Manhattan, it's not, like, a huge city. I mean, it would literally be the biggest city on Earth because it's everyone. But it's a lot smaller than you'd think for even now. Like, what are we at, 8-something? I'm not in school. They don't tell me the population of Earth anymore. If we hit 9? I think I'd know if we hit 9. I'm gonna look it up.
I didn't even remember when we hit 8.
This is what
it
we're
just
supposed
happened.
to be thinking. I had a great one, real quick. Population of Earth. My phone's been real slow recently. 2025. Man, I don't know what's going on. My phone. Because it's not Google, it's DuckDuckGo. I don't just get the result, so I gotta click the link. Man. That's real. 8.2 billion.
Oh, we'll get there.
It slowed down, I think. Just a glance. Yeah, no, it's been kind of slow, but I guess we had COVID. Actually, population grew a lot in COVID.
Yeah, staying at home all day? What else are you gonna do?
I get. Thank you. You made sense for me. No, I had a great one. I remember, growing up, especially in school, it's always like, these are the problems your generation will have to solve. It's like the next generation will have to deal with. And then I remember I went to college, and I was at college, and early on at some point, one of the professors said that, like, and this is the sort of thing that, like, the next generation, the people in school growing up now are going to have to solve. And I always knew the whole kind of, like, the next generation's thing was a bit BS. Like, I don't know, how many political changes did you make when you were in high school? It's like you're in the point now where you're supposed to be doing that stuff. But I was just struck. I was dumbfounded by suddenly, practically overnight, it went from it will be my generation's problem to it is the next. At no point was it actually my turn, right? At no point. And it was like an older professor. I think it was a professor who'd like worked on the Linux kernel, the original one. Like I was baffled and even now I still hear about like, oh, the next generation. They're not talking about me. They're talking about like the babies that like my generation is having. It's like, what? I'm baffled. But because like all the people who said it would be my generation stuff like 20 years ago, surely also went through this and like knew how BS it was. But I'm like, man, did society just decide it wasn't my turn instantly? Because I was in college. It's not even like I was now that generation and just chose not to do anything. I was still working my way through.
You weren't there yet.
Like
the next group will only make it to middle school.
Yeah, I was like, great. That's how the world works. But yeah, I mean, we were struck. We didn't talk about much this time, but that episode was a lot of. It was basically just set up until the very end, much like Wish World. But it was so much better. Like it had 100%. Story and stakes and emotions. I think it might just be the characters we care about. But no,
it was done better.
Assembling unit, that was the beginning of Reality War. That wasn't Wish World. And I really don't want this to become like an old Doctor Who is better than new Doctor Who kind of stream. But specifically, so much of like season 3 and Ncuti Gatwa's last season feel like they're doing a lot of the same things. And it's amazing just how more successfully this season did a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'd be interested if we'd ranked these out of like 10, but God, we spent too much time. I can't have another 5 and a 7, Caden. I can't do it.
That is the most accurate ranking I could give that episode.
My wife and I bring that up sometimes. It's like randomly to talk about something. It's like, you know what? I think that's like a 5 and a 7. And they're like, but not a 6. I'm like, no, not a 6. But
I need to be clear. It's not a 5 and a 7. It is a 5 and 7.
We kind of get what you're saying.
One thing.
We kind of get what you were saying with that, right? But I feel like you were saying, if you ignore the bad parts, it's a 7. And if you ignore the good parts, it's a 5.
No,
and I'm like, you're not supposed to.
What it is, it's a 5 and 7.
And a 7. God, I was, and then when Alex gave their ranking as well, it was like it's a 5 or 6. I just lost it. They were like, but I'm gonna do the sensible thing. I'm like, thank you.
I think mine was more accurate. I think I was the most sensible.
We're gonna be playing game night with our other brother at some point, and just we're gonna go off on a 5 or a 7 thing, and they're just gonna be so confused. All right, do you need to do anything in the break? I definitely need to fill up this water bottle.
Yeah, we both got to fill up water.
All right,
you can go grab yours.
I'll go to the Reddit again. No, you go first. You go first.
All right. I'm very quick.
Gallifrey Reddit, because I looked at Doctor Who earlier. What's Gallifrey got for us? Classic Who accessibility in the UK. Oh, I thought that was like disability exacerbation. I don't think we've got a lot of good stuff. We're between seasons. A lot of people are sick of Unit. Those posts have been coming out. It's not the cheeriest place. The Doctor Who Reddits. We had a string of more cheeriness, but then it's kind of coming back. There's really nothing. Big Finish podcast news. There we go. What's Big Finish got for us? Dark Gallifrey, Missy's thing. Last thing is releasing soon. As I mentioned before, Jodie's getting a new thing on the 2nd. First of her adventures. 8th Doctor Adventures has been announced with Dr. Charlie and Audacity. I'm looking forward to those. I'm still stuck when he had, like, bad box sets, make my way through there. But I really like the sound of Audacity, which is like, let's just do random adventures again. And I'm very much looking forward to that. A Feast of Stephen video trailer is released.
What is this?
Is Big Finish doing an audio interpretation? Oh, no, that's right. Big Finish is doing like a short trips of a bunch of Stephen stories because it's 60-year anniversary of Stephen. But they've called it The Feast of Stephen, which is the missing Doctor Who Christmas special. And a lot of weird people are saying... that came out harsh. A lot of people are saying that for a Christmas special, we should just remake The Feast of Stephen, which, if you don't know, is like part 7 of the 12-part Dalek Master Plan. It's a First Doctor missing story. It's also the only episode of Classic Who we know for a fact is gone forever. There was only ever one copy. We know it was destroyed. And the 12-part Master Plan happened to broadcast... part 7 would be on Christmas Day. And because no one in their right mind would sit down and watch Doctor Who on a Christmas, they have a bit. I've never seen it. I'm kind of waiting for the animations. I've never seen it. But as I understand it, at the end of part 6, they basically just leave the literally middle of this literally Dalek Master Plan. It's a 12-part epic, longest story ever, big stakes. And they just kind of go do something else for an episode. And there's like a Christmas dinner. That's all I know about it, is it's like a Christmas dinner at the end, and the First Doctor breaks the fourth wall. He's like, by the way, Merry Christmas to everyone at home. And then they go back to the adventure afterwards, because like no one would lose it. And there weren't repeats, you'd just be confused if you missed a part. And that's the episode. And because that's the episode, they never sent it to their colonies. For international distribution. They never made copies, and so there was only the BBC one that they burned. And so that's one that people actually kind of have interest in proper remaking, because we just know we'll never get it again. And thankfully we have those audios, because that's the one. It's weird to think of, like, that one's just gone forever. Apparently it's not great. Like, it's a throwaway that no one expected anyone to watch. But it is technically the first Doctor Who Christmas special. And I guess because William Hartnell broke the fourth wall, that makes everything Russell T Davies written okay. Yeah, what if we watch that? If they animate that, we could watch The Feast of Stephen for a Christmas special this year.
We can have our own little feast while we watch
plan. I wonder if we could do something fun for Christmas this year, assuming there's no... What if we watch... Do you think we could track down the Star Wars Holiday Special and watch that?
I don't even know what that is.
There's I don't know what year this was. It's old. They made a Star Wars Holiday Special where, like, Han, Luke, like, that original gang go back to Chewbacca's home planet for Love Day, which is like space Christmas. And it's just space Christmas. They call it Love Day. And it's notoriously bad. And I've never seen it. I know there's a bit where, like, Chewbacca's dad puts on some glasses and that, like, show him some, like, softcore pornography. And there's, like, just, it's weird, it's bad, and they've tried to hide it forever. And it's like a disgrace. It's notoriously bad. And that could be fun to watch instead of a Christmas special, is the Star Wars Holiday Special. Yeah. The only thing I know is that Chewbacca's dad watches softcore porn. But, like, we could watch. They broadcast it. It can't be that bad, But we could watch that for Christmas, you know?
So festive.
Yeah. Love date. There's also like Ewok movies about like some, I think, totally normal kids who like somehow end up on Endor and live with Ewoks. Have you ever heard
That
those?
sounds fun.
They're
No.
like, or they might have been a show. I'm very confused by it. Star Wars did some weird things back in the day. I don't know. What's it? I'm gonna screw Doctor Who. Star Wars Child Ewok show. Ewok. It's a TV series.
Oh.
I'm gonna put this on for everyone else. I'm gonna hide that severed arm. I'm sorry you had to break the magic. There's animated, but here, the Ewok Adventure. I guess there's animated. Ewok Adventure. I'm also wondering, is that like a wizard? It's like a wizard Ewok. The Ewok Adventure. Yeah, and so you get this kid who lives with Ewoks. That's literally all I know about.
That sounds kind of fun. I'd love that.
This. I think it got a sequel. Because who doesn't like Ewoks?
Yeah.
Was this before the prequels? Wait, what? I'm afraid of the AI mode tab that Google.
I hate the AI mode.
What does it do?
I don't even know, but it's where the all button used to be, so I keep clicking it all the time.
If they've hidden the AI auto answer under there, I'm fine with it.
They should have put it somewhere else.
I left Google as my. I know default. I just used Google, but especially on my phone, which is usually where I do things for DuckDuckGo because of the AI auto response. 61% like the movie, 38 on Rotten percent. I told Alex, no, I have a good story. I gotta tell you, right?
Uh-huh.
What the hell is it called? Milo and Otis, right? Alex was telling me about, I don't remember how. I think I heard the name Milo. And I was like, why? I know the screen's gonna be black for a sec. But why do I know the name Milo? It was like, what's it from? And Alex was like, there's a movie about like Milo and Otis. I think I said it's a movie. And they showed me. I've never had a review like a stars out of 5. Tell me more. I knew instantly. I saw the rating for this movie and I instantly knew everything about it, right?
A 2 into 5.
This is Milo and Otis, right?
Oh,
you have pretty much evenly split between 5 and 1 with mostly 5. And the cover is like a pug and a cat. And it's a movie about this pug and this cat, I guess on a farm. I don't know. And this is clearly a movie from 1986 that a lot of people watched as a kid and is terrible. It's clearly a terrible movie from a lot of people's childhood.
Go to the images. These look so adorable.
Don't get me wrong. I respect that. If you're here going, how dare you? I love Milo and Otis. Good for you, right? Look at this. It's just a pug and a cat.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah. But, right, you know from that 5 and 1 that it's like a terrible movie. That a lot of people...
I think it has to be a 5 and it got review bombed or something.
I'm not judging.
Can't be real.
Right? I love the Amazon Cinderella movie, which is terrible. Oh. You saw that, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, right? Good on you. If you love this movie, good on you. But I feel like it's the movie that you would acknowledge is terrible, but like you liked it as a kid. It's got a cute pug and a cat. And so 5-star, you know? It's a terrible movie that a lot of people love from their childhood.
Oh my gosh.
Cuz like it's 1986. How good can the talking pug and cat be? You know?
Oh, this is horrible.
No, if you found some horrible fact about Milo and Otis that you probably shouldn't share. I don't think you should share this horrible Milo and Otis fact.
I won't. Just Milo and Otis had a bad time. That's all I'll say.
Don't look into Milo and Otis, apparently.
Don't look into it.
Apparently, don't look into Milo and Otis. No.
Wait, maybe it's a myth. Wait, no.
Okay,
it might be a myth.
Cool.
It might.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm gonna need to do some more research.
They had a great time. All right. Well, Caden, do you want a Doctor Who episode that's not Age of Steel that you can
I
tell everybody?
can do Age of Steel right. I know exactly how to do it right.
No.
It's already in my head. I've
All
got
right,
this.
you
I won't
tell
let you
them for
down.
real, and I'm gonna go get a drink of water, and I'm
Okay.
not responsible for what happened.
Chat. Guys, I everyone or no one that's here. I never know. I don't have the stream open. Last time I misremembered what Age of Steel actually was, and I must have I explained it completely wrong. That's not at all what happened. What I said. We can gloss over whatever you think I did or did not say about the Age of Steel. What really happened, I remembered. I jogged my memory after talking about it. It's a simple premise. The Doctor's TARDIS. He was flying through outer space. This was at some point in time. He was between companions, and part of the TARDIS breaks, and it like, and that you hear this all the grinding and screeching, and the TARDIS screaming,
this just
and the
sounds
bells.
like Age of Steel. Oh,
And well, no, it break, and the TARDIS crash lands in early late foundation of America, and he can't go anywhere, and he needs a very specific part because the Doctor's TARDIS at this point in time is very ramshackled together. There's things have been breaking all over, and he specifically found a very niche vintage car part that works great for what he needs done in his TARDIS. But that doesn't exist on Earth, and so he obviously incites, encourages, and pushes forward the Industrial Revolution of America. To put these cars into production that create the parts that he needs for his TARDIS, and he makes the Age of Steel happen.
I got a bit confused. I'm like, you do realize that the Industrial Revolution started in England, but then I realized that it was the cars, so that I'm pretty sure that was America. Yes.
He had to stick around on Earth and make that happen.
I'm glad it wasn't about like men, this time. But
yeah, last time he incited the baby boom.
No. I said.
Sorry, you liked how it ended last time. You liked how it ended.
You did. You brought it. No, it was a mistake. No.
But it was actually the Industrial Revolution. I just got mixed up with my episodes.
I see. Yeah, that you remember the original.
The script, the pre-edited.
God. Yeah, I'd just fire. I don't even know. The next like 10 people I see fired. If I got that script. Don't even care. It's David Tennant, you picked a bad time to walk into my office. You're fired. All right. Is this even the right episode? This is the right one. Yeah.
Probably. Who knows?
Oh, I'd recognize that episode anyway.
I don't recognize that at all.
The Last of the Time Lords, an episode you have seen about that much. Actually, yes.
Yeah, that's like right where. Yeah.
Nailed it. About that much of. I think I can go. I think I'm good.
Beauty.
Especially if you think you can bring some conversation to the table.
I can always bring conversation to the table.
All right. Do I want a bathroom break first? I probably should.
Do I need another episode?
Yeah, you do.
I don't remember any of the episode.
Do the Monster Mash.
Do the Monster Mash.
Who episodes? That one and that's classic. Do the Space Museum. Do it anyway. That's an awful. You know what?
Space Museum.
The Space Museum. It's a First Doctor story. It's the worst possible title I could have given you.
the Space.
I'll give you another one. I'm gonna give you a 11th Doctor. No, that's good. Do you want what Doctor? What Doctor do you want?
Well, are there any episodes that we haven't?
I love how a time waster ends up like taking a lot of time.
Taking time.
Oh, there's loads we haven't done. 9 or 10. Series 1, 2, or 3. No, series 1 or 2. Those are the ones we haven't done. Series 1.
I want to say 2, but let's go 1.
I've done most of season. We've actually done all of season 2, I think.
Okay. Okay.
All right, you've got Rose, The End of the World, The Unquiet Dead. How about that one? The Unquiet Dead.
The Unquiet Dead. Okay, got it.
There you go.
I remember this one. This was a great episode. This is a classic. There was a weird noise in my house. This is a classic episode that's very emotional, but they really hit. It's remembered by the fan base of trying to be emotional, but they missed the mark by a mile. Where the doctor, just after losing, of course, his most recent companion at that time, he was remembering just the pain of that, and so he goes and visits all of the graves, of course, of the thousands of people that he's met and traveled with in his time as the doctor, because people die when they hang out with the doctor. That's a common theme throughout this show. And as he's going and visiting them, he hears these weird crackles and noises from around the cemetery, because they have a specific plot where all the Doctor Who companions and people that he travels with, of course, they bury them, because half of them are like hit with alien viruses and illnesses that, if transmitted to the rest of the world, will demolish everything, and so they need to be kept somewhere under supervision. And so as he's going there, of course, he knows it smells horrible, and as he's walking and he hears all these noises, he puts his head to the ground right underneath the grave, and he hears from 6 feet under a faint, and he realizes all of the companions are farting. From day, he buries them because he thinks they're alive, but they're actually not. It's their bodies. They're farting, and it's
sorry. Go back. He buries them because he thinks they're alive, but they're not. Them. It's their bodies.
he unburies them because he thinks they're alive. He digs them up, but they're dead.
But they're dead, but their bodies are alive.
It's because of when he buried all of the people that were skinned from the Slovene. They contracted a Slovene illness that spread to all the other corpses, only reanimating their bodily functions enough to fart, which is what spreads the virus to the other corpses, and he has to then cleanse all of them.
I'm pretty sure, citation needed, I'm pretty sure that you actually do fart when you're dead because of like the decomposition.
The gas gets let out.
Yeah, so...
But he thought they already let all the gas out, so it was weird. But it was the virus. Right. They were the Unquiet Dead.
All right. I like the reveal. I imagine it's a two-parter, and the cliffhanger is like the fart noise.
Yeah. He opens the casket, but you think it's creaking, but it cuts and it was already open and they were just farting. Thank you. I know. I should be a director. And it was supposed to be somber.
The next time it's previously on Doctor Who, and it's just the fart, and then it just leads into the next episode. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good one, but it wasn't somber. It ended up being far more funny.
We've actually probably done most of the episodes now. We just have a lot of Shooty Gadwa season 1.
Yeah.
That I can do it for. I'm trying to work out why... Oh, it's because my transparent instructions are hidden. So gosh, gotta do all this layering. 13. Why is it hidden? There we go. Okay, there we go. Now it's working.
That was a good fart. I pulled that off good.
Oh, all right.
Nervous.
Sure.
No, I got to do it with my hands. I hadn't done that forever.
Oh, that was I thought you made that with your mouth.
No, that was like I used to put. I don't know if you remember when we were younger.
If there's one thing I've learned,
my hands, my mouth, and fart a lot.
Both of Russell T Davies' eras, it's that the fart joke episodes are always the favorite. Always, they love them. Fans love them.
Yeah.
Just as before, for Russell T Davies, I guess, is still watching. For Russell T Davies, we're gonna do another countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and on go, we're all gonna hit play. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, we'll count. We'll just abort that. I started not looking at a timer, and then I realized halfway through. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. Oh, I forgot about that.
What's that?
I sometimes wonder, with a lot of the classic Doctor Who, like previously ons, What's it like if you miss the episode, you know? We could do that with you. I could pick a random 2-parter and just open. Like, the doctor just went up. It was like, oh, real old. What would you think?
That is true, yeah.
God, for setup, a lot happened last episode.
Yeah.
But I think, like, basically all of those scenes were in the last, like,
Right
5 minutes.
Yeah, I remember this episode 2 weeks ago, I really got blindsided by the immediate 1 year later.
Oh, yeah. This one's dark, too. Like, you didn't...
Yeah.
You got a bit into some of the darkness, but I thought that because obviously for the first time I watched it, it was that cut down American version. When I got back into Doctor Who later, it was the full uncut. And so I thought it was a director's cut at first, because this was the first time I noticed like the missing scenes or the extra scenes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, that's just what the episode was. And like, especially for a public corporation of a country that a lot of people consider this as a kid's show, I'm like, that's a ballsy move, you know?
They had Earth.
They had to get Soul 3.
Soul.
The whole like Soul thing kind of bothers me. Like,
but isn't
culturally,
the sun Soul?
Now granted, I'm just an American, like I'm an English speaker, so maybe of course I think this. But if we like met aliens tomorrow, we'd probably need to put the sun on a map and we'd call it Soul. But like official, because like that's just what all the sci-fi has done. But no. Also, that was presumably an alien message, so God knows why they call it Soul. But officially, like you know, the Astronomical Union, whatever, that does all the names. The sun, the moon, and the earth are kind of unique in that they don't have an official name like Mercury, Venus, Mars, whatever.
No, I thought they did.
They're deemed so culturally significant that basically anybody's name works for them. Like they are the sun and the moon in whatever your language calls that. And it's the earth in whatever your language says. Like Earth, Terra is used a lot just to go with the Latin theme. Like that's why so people put Terra on the map a lot. But like if you speak Latin, you're right. I mean, it's not wrong. It means Earth. But it doesn't have like a name. It's
I thought it was
officially
Terra and Luna.
Nope. Luna's the Russian one, right? And like you can't go to Russia and say it's wrong. But the moon is just as correct of a name as Luna. I could see it becoming Luna on a map. Honestly, if we meet aliens, we probably have people living on the moon. By the way, if you don't get the dance sequence right now, you're watching the cut down version. But yeah, no,
it's probably very shocking to hear if someone is not getting the dance sequence right now. They're going, what? What do you mean?
Imagine, right? I remembered this episode, and this scene was not in it. So imagine when I'm watching Doctor Who, and he's coming out of his little doggy tent down there. I'm like, what the heck?
He has a bowl that says dog.
That says dog. Brilliant.
I didn't see that.
Whoever did the prop design, right? The dog bowl that says dog, the bomb. I want them back.
I forget he just pushes him into a wall.
I don't want Russell as a writer. I want Russell as the prop designer. He just looks so bored. It is horrifying, though. And there we go. The Americans have joined us. It looks like clouds.
Yeah.
He's not blinking, though. God. Come on, David. Please. Blink.
Man.
Blink. He's not... Why not, though?
He's
looking
really
he
intently.
faked us. He faked us out. He like semi-closed his eyes.
That's all he needs.
That's all he needs. He's not blinking. He blinked there, but that doesn't count.
That's before.
Yeah, he remembers blinking. He's not gonna do it. I don't even know why. Is it the frame rate? Is the cam... Don't laugh.
It might be my favorite Doctor Who shot. Like of everything we've seen so far.
Someone used to do edits of Star Trek. It was like sad treks, where they took the like establishing shot for like Star Trek TNG, of like it zoomed in on the Enterprise and have a line from the show like, security officer's log, stardate yada yada yada. My son Alexander has behaved disgracefully, and it cut to the credits. It go bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. I want versions of that for Doctor Who, where it's just the master pushes, the wheelchair hits, and then it's like, ooh, wee, ooh, to be continued.
There's an episode, there's a universe where that happens, but the Doctor it hit the wall really hard and he fell forward and broke his neck, and Doctor Who ends.
There is. I learned recently the guy who played Lumic, who made the Cybermen, shortly before filming, fell down the stairs and broke his ankle. But, like, thankfully the character was in a wheelchair anyway, so it didn't matter. Well, for filming. Probably mattered a lot to that guy. Did you go to Mount Rushmore on your big trek to Florida?
No. It was a little too far out of the way.
Yeah, it's kind of like
we did
the
consider it,
southwest
though.
corner, right? It's down southwest.
We were like close, but just far enough away.
Yeah, it's kind of how I don't know where Mount Rushmore is, but I kind of feel like if you were to go from Washington to Florida, it's just a bit southwest, you know?
Yeah.
And then those East Coasters all like, what do you mean? The capital of Florida?
What I wanted more than seeing Mount Rushmore is one of my best friends says the best ice cream he's ever had was at the gift shop, like right outside of Mount Rushmore. And I was way more excited for that than the idea of seeing big rocks, but sadly didn't get to go.
Well, I was just going to ask because thinking about the master in them, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that was too far. They just assassinated the American president. They can't deface an American monument. I gotta feel like Mount Rushmore, right? Every American knows about Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like most Americans, there's a few who would be really loud about it, but most Americans don't really care about Mount Rushmore. Is that a fair check?
I feel like that's a fair check, yeah.
I might be underestimating it, because, like, you know, American president orders demolition of founding father monument, you know, like it's a bad headline.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
And Americans do like their founding fathers.
But if the White House blew
I
up,
don't know,
I feel like that'd be bigger, you know?
I feel like if we decommissioned Yellowstone, I'd care more. Mount Rushmore is like the thing I care about the least. What even was that? That was probably a lot of work to do.
It's probably, I feel like it's the least cool thing. Like, it's in the category of cool things. That's what it is.
It's just, it's the least. I bet if you go there, it's like a big face. That's probably impressive.
I've heard it's underwhelming. I've heard it's smaller than it seems.
I feel like going there with no expectations would probably be cool.
Yeah.
Because, like, I also went to the Statue of Liberty, and everyone says it's, like, kind of underwhelming and smaller than you think. But going there to the Statue of Liberty, I'm like, yeah, that's about what I expected. You know?
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just better at, like, thinking how tall a 200-foot thing is.
As possible.
I don't know. A 2-story house is 20 feet. Just think about that. And you'll be way less surprised at the size of things, honestly. I'm not even joking. Throw the coat. That's an important part of the escape plan. The doctor.
What if it fell out of his
see.
pocket?
Time for... What the hell is her name? Michelle Gomez. I took a bit to get who the next master is. He really got.
He could have shot them too, though. He could have like took one down with him.
Yeah, but that's not really the point of the escape plan. We haven't got. They go more into this escape plan later on, but Jack really got the short end of the stick, didn't he? Right? He got shot to death.
Yeah.
That
he
sucks. Also, we haven't called out Lucy's black eye yet in this version of events.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to do about that black eye. But I think we talked about this last time. It is a bit weirder about, like, why does he even want the wife, you know?
Yeah.
I'd be curious. I bet Davies has talked about that. You know what? I'm going to take a peek. Oh my god, DuckDuckGo, why are you so slow? I can't use the computer.
We're missing our captions. I just realized something felt off.
Oh, sorry. I bet the audio... Oh, that's why I had to adjust the volume, too. The wrong audio track. Isn't that better?
Oh, it's beautiful.
What I did, by the way, people talk about Murray Gold's music overwhelming the dialogue and everything. What I just did in VLC Media is go to the audio menu and change the audio track, the stereo mode, I think it is, from headphone mode to stereo mode. And it's just better. And I don't know what this is on a TV or anything, but like as a kid, we watched Doctor Who in Dad's old theater room. It was like a good sound system. I never understood this complaint about the music until I did this with you. Because like VLC Media had an update or something that broke it. And I really think like the show could do better because often shows mix for like people with Dad's setup that like no one has. But honestly, I think you could probably fiddle with your sound system and fix it. Oh my god, DuckDuckGo. Is there like a virus on my phone now? Oh my gosh, Doctor Who. Why does Master?
I didn't realize they reinforced his plates.
I pointed that out last time. It was funny, especially because the plates weren't the issue; it was the concrete.
Yeah, I remember that.
Lucy Saxon has a TARDIS wiki page, which is the first. Oh, here we go. We get Dobby soon.
Oh gosh. I've still got to wait to see. The scene I probably remember is when he undobbies, I'm imagining. Assuming he undobbies.
I don't remember. No, that's what he's like. Don't you remember for the rest of the 14 as well? He was just a Dobby.
Yeah. Oh man.
When did Chamber of Secrets come out? 2002? The movie.
I don't know.
It had to have been before, because people wouldn't have said it was like Dobby. Of Secrets. I couldn't find
Martha
anything about it.
And the family, this is like sad, but for like everyone else on Earth,
this is
like confusing. what is going on? Yeah.
Well, no, because they don't have TV, because it hasn't worked for a year. I don't know who he's broadcasting to.
Well, maybe
can you tell, by the way, I used to be really into Harry Potter, because Chamber of Secrets came out in 2002. Yep. Once upon a time.
Oh, gosh.
What do you mean?
I just...
Don't you want one?
I don't know.
I hope you look that good at that age. God knows what that age is. But
I do not want to know what age that is.
I mean, it's more than 900.
Yeah.
I had a chance to look up Yoda's line about look that good at 900 you do, hope I. But I didn't. That's a very tidy factory.
Yeah, Luca's running it. She looks like she stands on business.
Well, yeah, isn't it abandoned? That's
Probably,
super clean.
So. She doesn't just sit around all day. She picks up.
That's the only thing she can do.
Yeah, that's it.
I guess she just survives. I don't know. I don't live in the apocalypse, and my house needs cleaning. There's literally a stack of cardboard boxes next to me.
Tomorrow is cleaning all day.
I've got to plant some pumpkins, though.
Right. Ooh, that sounds nice.
I got to weed the pumpkin parts, you know? Man, Bill Gates reference.
Bill Gates is dead, canonically.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I think it's just that he's not really doing much for most people in the apocalypse, you know?
You might
I
have
don't
a
think
point.
we hear about him next. It's all about Steve Jobs. Like, we've invented the iPhone, or the iPod, at least. I don't know if it's a big thing yet. Mom still had, like, a pink flip phone, though, back in 2006.
Yeah, I had that in my desk forever.
You have that
I don't know where it is now.
Phone?
I think it's in a box at Dad's.
You gotta keep that. If I find it, can I take it
somewhere
from Dad's? I've got a lot of my old tech. I got my old iPod, which is like tiny compared to my phone now. I got an MP3 player. I love keeping the old tech, 'cause I feel one day, like, maybe it's kind of fun for us, but, you know, it's like when you got shown a floppy disk or something. People do that now. I guess the generation after us, where it's like, what is this wizardy tech or whatever?
Yeah.
Wizardy tech. That's what old tech is. It's just like magic, you know? Any sufficiently outdated technology is indistinguishable from magic. You didn't like these little Dalek faces, guys, did you?
I
don't think you did.
I think I'm.
Well,
they might have like this.
He's free range. Oh, here's one of the cut scenes, by the way, about, like, genuinely how horrific this scenario is.
Yeah.
Like, Doctor Who's not a kid's show. This is honestly a scene I might use to demonstrate Doctor Who's not a kid's show. But, like, a lot of people see it as one. Could you imagine? Like, they had to have had pushback.
Yeah.
I think a lot about the morality of how to write Doctor Who that's not a kid's show when the country that you write Doctor Who for is a public corporation, thinks it is. I don't know where that was going, but it's just something I think about a lot. Because I'm like that. Because, like, if this was a private corporation, whatever, they put boobs in next episode. Like, who cares? But you're the government. You gotta kind of listen to the people.
Yeah.
You know?
Do any other Time Lords get this tiny and shriveled and horrifying?
I'm gonna say something about Time Lord boobs, but no. The Master's a tooth currently. Does that count?
A gold tooth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife forgot about that. She asked, we were watching Classic Who. She was like, is the Master dead currently in Doctor Who? I'm like, no, he's a tooth. She's like, whose tooth? Who plays him? I'm like, kinda no one, I guess. Because he's a tooth. But no, I don't think... Other Time Lords get old. The Doctor actually has already been aged up. Crazy is like the 4th Doctor. The 11th Doctor is naturally gonna get stupidly old. And, like, none of them become Dobby. So who knows? I mean, we see Time Lords die of old age. And they just look like old people, you know?
Got it. They just had to do my boy dirty like this.
Well, but, like, maybe he aged him up a lot, you know? It's also weird, though, because it's sped up footage, right?
Yeah.
So, like, presumably you could just calculate how sped up that is. And so I guess he's only, like, you know, a few hours older. That's really well done.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Skies Are Made of Diamond line 4 months later? This is why it's going to take us more than 5 years to finish Jodie. Guys are made of diamonds. I'm sorry again. Every time I have to do that line, and I'd like to apologize to Scotland. That was bad. Just wait till we get to Capaldi. I'm sorry to Scotland. My wife thinks they can do a good Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Emphasis on thinks. Good first date.
Oh, a little bit of explanation. I forgot about this
but
part.
not like why he has.
But not a yeah.
What Big Finish likes giving the master a companion. Although, funny enough, not Jacoby usually, who's like the best. Often, I guess it's kind of like entertainment. You know, he can make him suffer. They often give like a secondary protagonist for the like Jacoby stories, but not someone who consistently travels.
Oh, I gotta see if I can understand this the second time around.
Okay. I can explain it too.
Yeah, saw the end of the world.
Do you think he created Utopia?
The master?
I used to think he did, but having watched the episode again, like now, I don't think he did. I think it was just a failed project.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Well, Derek Jacobi has a weird scene when he becomes the master. He kind of sees the signal, is like, ugh, Utopia. Like, fools. They believed it. But of course, he hasn't actually known he needed a plan yet at that point. So, I don't know. I love that guy nodding along. He's like, I don't understand a word of this, but like, yeah, I'm gonna look smart. I'm just here to shoot things. Again, it's weird just seeing him in welding stuff. He doesn't even get... I love how they custom tailored a tiny suit like the one he was wearing before, so you know it's the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't get shoes. I mean, it's pretty good CG for the time. I don't think the eyes are good. The eyes are bad.
The eyes are rough. Everything else is pretty good.
I just looked him in the eyes, and that was bad. But...
eyes are hard.
I feel like make the eyes better, and you might be able to let that slide today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe not a feature of an episode, but you could let that one go. But the practical looks better, yeah. Go on.
So the current humans, what do they do 100 trillion years from now when they're the future humans? Do they go back again?
Don't think about that.
Okay, got it. That's the part that I'm confused about.
Well, it's a paradox, right? And that's why the machine is there. So that doesn't work. But like the master doesn't care. Well, the master doesn't care about the current humans. Like they'd just die out then, I guess. Otherwise you'd have a second paradox.
Need a new machine. Okay. Yeah.
But the whole point is that it doesn't work.
Got it.
And so that's why you have the machine.
Then it makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm like, Doctor, you know I can't hear you. That tear, that's how I feel every time someone whispers in my deaf ear. It's like, no, I don't know. It's like a video game, you see. Kind of is, though. Just with enough bullets.
Yeah, 13, right?
Is enough. There are a lot of horrific, like, Big Finish scenes where someone shoots a Time Lord without knowing, like, about Time Lords or anything. Then they just explode and keep shooting them, so you're burning through. There's also intentional scenes where someone, like, tortures Time Lords by slowly burning through their regenerations. Oh. Well, slowly, but extremely quickly in, like, the lifespan of them. Those are always a lot of the most horrific scenes, honestly, of, like...
Jeez.
There's something uniquely horrific that regeneration lets you do with murdering someone. Well, it's like if you murder a Time Lord, you don't kill them, you take, like, a huge chunk of their life, right? Essentially a 13th of their life, right? And then if you're burning through like 8 regenerations, like painfully, that must be a strain on the body. Like, it's horrible. Go listen to Big Finish. It's horrible. To be clear, not all of Big Finish is horrible. Most of Big Finish is like a standard Doctor Who story.
I like the isolated selling point of go watch Big Finish. It's horrible.
If you want to explore darker sci-fi things and like some of the things you could really do with like the power of Gallifrey, the War Master and the Gallifrey series are for you. Early Big Finish, the very experimental stuff before the reboot, has a lot of darker stuff. It likes that. Honestly, a lot of like fan favorites can be darker. Sometimes they're just not that dark. They're dark in the same way that like this story's a bad example, but like a standard episode would be dark. Chimes of Midnight's probably like that. But most of Big Finish is like just a, you know, like the normal episode, right?
We're catching up. I'm about to not know what happens next.
Oh yeah, you're pretty close.
I'm not gonna know when a comedically large bomb pops
Caden, we're not live again, and I didn't hit recording.
Really Lost the Age of Steel twice.
Yeah, this is about where we realized.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even get like a pillow. What the heck is that? Is this a deleted scene? That looks a lot, from a distance, he looks a lot like Tom Paris from Voyager. That was a deleted scene. That was weird. I kind of like it. I like it, but that was weird. I see why you cut it though. You know, and anytime we get to these, I'm like, I get it. I get why you cut that one. Can we GIF that? Can I have that on my phone to like send to people?
It's probably out there.
Because also, a lot of Americans probably haven't seen that scene, but might recognize that it's that episode of Doctor Who. Okay, I don't think you've seen these parts. I'll try and let you pay attention more now. But I hope you've helped informed if you want to start watching, like, the episodes you've never seen before we do these.
Yeah.
I think there's value in that, but I feel like we should watch them together for the first time, at least.
Yeah, they both have good reasons.
I conceived of this, similar with the Star Trek watch-alongs I used to do, of, like, if people want to know what we think of the old ones, I can point to this. Now I think we just hang out. That's what it is.
You said the thing.
I do like the master theme here. Oh, there's like a weird techno in the background, though. What's that? It's working, but like...
suspenseful.
Huh. I can't think of another piece of techno in the Doctor Who soundtrack since like the 80s. And that was different. That's not dubstep, you know, that's like the 80s. That's synth, not techno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love synth.
I would definitely know more than you. Also, he was pointing that gun right up at Martha. You saw that, right?
Oh, she's strong.
That guy has bad gun safety. And yeah, he's English in the apocalypse. He probably doesn't have much exposure to gun safety. But still. It's got a thermonuclear device in it. Don't shoot it. Does he know
that
about...
sounded like it slammed on the ground.
Why? Does he know about the gun thing? I think he does. Otherwise, that's just
yeah, because the girl probably told him. Yeah, and he's
Wait, why have her take off the backpack and then shoot her?
See, the last time he used that device, it eviscerated the president.
Well, that's just for presidents.
Yeah. Oh, that's just normal person mode? President versus peasant.
It like detects how important a person is.
Yeah.
Peasant. Is that like a... You could do that in some dystopian Royal Rumble, like get Barack Obama to fight like a conservative in a boxing ring for some cash, you know? Like the people queuing up now.
No,
do you know
I
how many
saw a
people
while
would sign
ago-
up to fight Donald Trump, like MMA style?
I saw a while ago somewhere that had like elected officials, not like presidents but something, they would actually fight rather than like they would one-on-one it.
Like as part of the government, or was just something they did?
No, as part of the government. It would like to avoid a war, you get in the ring.
I genuinely think there'd be less wars if you made
the
president have to go. Well, then again, like there'd be the like buff dictator, you know, that would just take over the world then. How would you... I mean, I could see a world where that's respected if, like, everyone agrees. But could you imagine you're, like... Was FDR the one in a wheelchair? And then you're against, like, Andre the Giant and just agreeing that, like, yeah, you know, this is how we'll settle the Cold War, you know? God, there's half an episode left. I feel like it's about to end.
Yeah.
Why are they in space? Yeah, actually, if I could go to space, if I could fly to space, I'd just go to space, you know? Okay, here we get some... You were, like, just before the ending. I can't remember. Did you choose to stop watching Doctor Who, or was it pulled from Amazon back in the day?
Pulled.
Yeah, same for me. I thought you chose, but we both had it ripped out.
Well, but it got pulled a few times and moved around.
Yeah. I never got back, but the first time I got pulled, yeah.
Not thoroughly.
To be funny or fair, I literally never thought anything weird about the gun. Even though she pointed out, and a lot of people complain how like video gamey it is. But I was also a child, so maybe. It is just, it's bizarre though that like Unit and Torchwood would create an anti-Time Lord. I guess for the Master, I don't know. Just a normal gun, honestly. Has anyone ever killed the Doctor by shooting him?
Has he ever been shot?
Hang on, give me a moment. No. 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 Yes! No. 7. There was... The shooting was definitely involved. Not 8. Not 9. Not more. Not.
Oh, what? No.
Not.
They're gonna manifest happiness.
12 implies it would have killed him at one point in the fake out one. Jodie got shot, but not by a bullet.
Yeah, I mean...
I hope you got to pay attention to that as I was thinking how they all died. Is this the scene you thought of?
It might be.
Dobby is a free elf! Why is Jack so dirty? So this is why this was the worst finale, I think most would tell you, is just because it's a bit... just this.
What?
Meh. That's kind of mine. The rest of the episode's really strong.
That's kind of what I'm feeling right now.
It's like, you know, back when we complained
I guess it does work on paper.
Well, it is another example of him kind of pulling a solution out of his ass, you know? He becomes, like, God. It could have been set up better, but look it. He likes
Oh my god.
Yeah, you see? I've never paid attention to the guys in the corner either. Who, like, get afraid.
So people are thinking about him.
See, it's like watching... Oh my gosh, I love the paper that just hit Jack in the face. That could have taken his eye out. You still think it's... You know what? It's not great. But it's still a fine episode, I think. You know? It had such a strong early part.
Huh.
What if he's just like this? I think you need to watch
a lot in right
Classic Who to understand just how, like, bizarre this is, you know? You need to know just how much, like, stage play everything was. They were just hanging out for that, I guess. But now they know. Yeah, right.
Okay.
We were just waiting for a moment to betray him. Okay,
yeah.
Right? If you just saw Dobby the house elf become Jesus Christ, you know, I think I'd go with him. To be fair, last time Unit sided with the Master because he assassinated the president. Why did Unit side with the Master? Come to think of it. Oh, wait, no, it's Archangel, which is still around, come to think of it. Huh. But no, there's a line about how there's so little resistance because of the Archangel network.
Why is he acting like he's all powerful now when he was just cowering in a corner a second ago?
Well, now he's not getting the mind powers. They stopped saying doctor.
Oh, got it. 3 is... I feel like they should have more.
I feel like this is a metaphor for Torchwood. Jack Harkness with some heavily armed men firing guns at the TARDIS. Also, why does Unit look so boring? It's just black, generic uniforms. It's always bothered... Well, not always. Since about now. Then I think they get better, and then they're boring in Modern Who again. Like, they don't even... Do they have a Unit logo?
I don't know.
I mean, like, I guess back in the 70s, it was literally just an army uniform as well. I feel it was at least branded, or, like, it felt different... It's probably just because I didn't live in the 70s. I'd be curious then if, like, a young kid would think that Unit looks unique, though.
Oh, so he just walked in.
There you go. Well, she opened for him, you know. That's a good point, too.
How to get past the balls.
You know,
he had to have
Kaden,
died at least once.
This is a Russell T Davies finale. You can poke holes in it.
I'm absorbing a lot. a lot at once.
There's a lot. You're overwhelmed. There's a lot going on.
15 more minutes of whatever's happening right now.
No.
I'm taking it in.
It's gonna end, and then we get, like, epilogue. It's about to end.
Time's reversing?
Yeah. You know, like when Superman goes across... You know, there's a lot of loose papers in this room, actually, come to think of it. There we go. That's what happens when time reverses. I remember last time it happened. You hadn't been born yet, but...
I had been. It just unhappened.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I forgot.
Right back in there, you know? The garbage stayed, though. That's interesting.
Why is...
I'm sure he'll explain it. It has been a while. I have an idea, but I'm just going to let him try and explain it. Ooh, it looks more real now. However, the President of America has still been assassinated on live TV by the British Prime Minister. I don't even know what I'd do. See, like, they even prove... Why? What's the point? Everything back to normal. The American president has been assassinated.
None of it happened.
But it's an election year. So, like, he wasn't going to do much, you know? We got to make room for Obama. Well, to be fair, actually, I think when this episode takes place, it should be Obama. So, like, maybe he is putting history back up. That was an American who happened to be named Harold Saxon. So when everyone wrote in Harold Saxon, he became the president. Now it gets to be Obama. Here's a deleted scene. Or a cut scene. They drastically changed the tone by, you know, the scenes they cut. I mean, he is a Time Lord, though, so, like, it's not great, but...
Giving him a punch, you know?
Well, again, like a 13th of his life, you know? It's not great. I think it's more for Francine's sake that, like, you know, she doesn't want to live with that.
The only Time Lord. Make him a companion. See how he does.
Well, here we go. In a cage, like Dobby.
I like his unenthusiastic reaction to therapy and growth. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where was she keeping that? I kind of like Jack hovering over the gun, though. It's like, I'll make it safe.
Why do you say that?
Well, because that's why
he didn't stop her.
That's why he didn't stop her from saving. We're almost done, Alex.
Do we have duct tape?
Okay. I will... Don't remind him of the Axons. That was embarrassing, even for him. A bit more powerful than the Ronnie, if I say so.
Yeah.
David Tennant does it so well, too. Then he's got to take his final fart, like you said. Sim probably is playing what it would actually be like to die very well. It's just not what movie death usually looks like. Was that a giggle?
No. I like that. I like that scene.
No, it's a very good scene.
Really good. I like the depth it adds.
I mean, the early Time War stuff. Honestly, I think just all the Time War stuff is really well.
Jack
done.
looks unimpressed about what's happening right now.
He's got to go back to Torchwood.
Lifted his head up and sighed.
Yeah, he's got to go back to Torchwood.
I really like that life of just being locked up.
Locked up and shot to death. Well, he just came from Torchwood, where he spent like 200 years buried alive and then dying because of he's suffocated like over and over. That was so. Actually, it was better.
I would take being chained up, and fed every day. That sounds great.
Well, I don't know if they fed him, but
they fed him in
They did give him
last episode.
Yeah, they did.
Or this episode, I don't know.
Boop, boop. Yeah, Torchwood also goes dark. Gosh, the rare events where the hero doesn't stay to make sure the villain actually burned. It's the mask. I've seen every atom of his body burn before, and he just came back. These are also a section of cutscenes in the American versions where Martha Jones goes and finds all the people from the other universe. She lives her whole life like, what did I do? Must have ruined this
Yeah,
poor
that's
woman's
a
life.
burden. I don't blame you.
Wow. Oh, I forgot about this scene was in this episode. Good, but I'm gonna build it up. Hey, that's where Torchwood lives.
Yeah, are they a year older?
We were already a year older. Oh, yes, actually. Yes. Are there 2?
Well, that sucks.
Well, less so for Jack and the doctor.
Well, yeah. Martha's got to update all her friends. She'll be like, yeah, I'm 24 now. They're going to be like, oh, you were born in this year. Like, yeah, but, 2006, it happened twice. I don't know what to tell you.
Jax does have a great coat.
It does.
Everyone in this scene has a good coat.
Yeah.
Although Martha's wearing leather, so I can't call it great.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is good.
Oh. I thought he was about to ask the same thing I asked.
He becomes Dobby.
You're going to become a short, little, wrinkly man.
Well, here, listen. I love the slow change on their faces. What? He becomes a big, wrinkly old man. What? Processing?
Yeah, I gotta process a lot.
You're having the same reaction as them.
Yeah, it is exactly what's happening right now.
Remember the time the face of Bo was pregnant?
When was... What?
That was like
No.
quiz show or something. It was the news, one of the news broadcasts on Satellite 5, I think. The face of Bo's just announced he's pregnant. Not the first time for Jack. Someone pointed out recently something I'd either forgotten or had never fully thought through, is one of two things must be true. Either one day Jack just woke up as a giant head, it just like happened instantly, or there's a midpoint where you have a big head on a Captain Jack body. By the way, you're going to be watching sections of this scene a lot for the next, like, 4 parts of Doctor Who. Oh, this is cut, too? It's amazing what I remember being cut.
Oh, it's the devil.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That wasn't in this stream, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Everyone else is confused. That guy plays the devil, probably, in some other show.
Yeah, I don't remember. Just some little indie.
Was it Lucifer? That's the only one I know, besides Has Been Hotel, and you wouldn't recognize him from Has Been Hotel. Not yet. Actually, that is next season. That's a good one. And some people hate it, and they're wrong. Any thoughts as we're kind of wrapping up with Martha?
A lot happened in the last 15 minutes.
There's a broken down car in my driveway, to be clear. So I really want to talk about this. But unfortunately, I don't have forever. Just as a heads up. Why do they need duct tape for a car? Okay, no, I don't know. There's something going on in my driveway right now. If only we hadn't talked about whatever the hell we talked about.
They hit me with like a 1, 2, 3.
Okay, let's start. Let's go through your. I think we need to start now. We're not going to get through it.
What's that?
This is why we watch the new episodes of Doctor Who like a day before. This is what Reality War would have been if we like watch alonged it.
Good for Martha though. I like this little moment.
Yeah. Are you one of the Martha Great fans, but Martha screwed over by season 3?
I see where they're coming from, yeah.
I just don't rate Martha super highly. I also don't think she was as screwed over. Like, a lot of people say she never really uses her doctorness, and I think that's just wrong. No, she did have a very weak, like, part 1 and a very strong part 2. She almost was written out as much as Belinda. But I feel like, you know, in a version where, like, those people's complaints are fixed, I probably would rank Martha higher. Reminder, she's going to be in the Sea Devil spinoff, not as Martha, but as, like, someone else. I'm probably going to get smacked in the head by her looking older.
Yeah.
Also, did you see that? Peter Davison was there. Blink and you miss it.
I blinked.
There's a charity short that takes place between what you just saw and right now with Peter Davison. Maybe we'll watch it next time. It's good. It's called Time Crash. It's probably on YouTube. You can find it. But it's just a fun romp with David Tennant and his favorite doctor. Uh-oh, Scooby.
Oh, gosh.
That's the same hand that picks up the Master's golden tooth, by the way. It's real weird.
Ooh, one in each hand.
One in each hand.
Tooth in a ring. That's a rough noise.
He's got his
the Unquiet Dead. Oh, never mind.
The Unquiet Dead, no. I think the reason this gets repeated so many times is part of why the what is so big. But that's how last season ended too.
I remember this.
Donna,
I remember this moment.
What, you remember the most viewed episode in Doctor Who history? I'm not surprised.
I don't, but I do remember that moment. I actually don't remember anything that happens next.
Voyage of the Damned, I've got a good summary for. But yeah, I really don't have much time, but a lot happened. Closing thoughts, as you said.
The Doctor Who became a super man because everyone thought about him. That was a lot to take in. It made
did
it made
catch
sense.
The line where he tuned to the psychic wavelengths of
all of it totally worked. And I was like, yeah, okay, I suppose. I'm still not over the face of Bo. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Right, I'll check in next week with the face of Bo.
But all in all, yeah, I'm happy with how that season ended. That was great, especially after the one I just went through.
The face of Bo does just like die, which is a little unusual. He might not be the face of Bo. It might be a coincidence, but yes, that is the intent. The intent is that he's the face of Bo, but also intentionally left open to where you decide. I
think it was it kind of caught me weird, but I wasn't angry at it like I was with the last finale.
The other finales of Parting Ways and Doomsday. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Doomsday in a while. You know what? This might actually be a more enjoyable watch than Doomsday for me. But Doomsday absolutely has a stronger landing. Doomsday kind of is its landing, is the bits with Rose and Tennant. But you still have a weird bit of like her mom, her dad coming back and catching him.
Yeah.
But it's a strong episode with an ending that's a bit but like doesn't ruin the episode in my opinion.
Yeah, because then immediately it goes into other really good, like the character moments right after the ending are all great.
Yeah, and I always say that's the important stuff. Star Trek Picard season 2 is awful. Right? Truly awful. But it's got like 3 key scenes narratively. They're like the big emotional beats, the narrative beats, and like those are the key. The season is built so that you could have these key 3 scenes. And ignoring how you get there, I think those 3 scenes all nail it. They're exceptional. And 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, ignoring how we get there. And because of that, my memory of Star Trek Picard is a hell of a lot better than it actually is. Because it nailed those key moments. And I think you get an element of that in this season. And like all of Davies' finales, really, is that the key moments are like earned and very well done.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's just a weird story beat, really. It's not like impossible that he could become like Jesus or Dobby or whatever. It's just a bit weird. People also complain about Journey's ending, to be fair. Like, a lot of people are probably angry and would call that the worst one before the Gadwa stuff. But I think the Gadwa finales are easily worse in the fan consensus. The Giggle... Honestly, the Giggle could happily live next to all the Russell T. Davies... Well, not Parting of Ways, but that's a whole other league, I don't think the other Russell T. Davies finales can live next to Parting of Ways. Like, nothing can. Season 1's just its own league. But hopefully next week. I don't think I have plans. You have plans? I think I'm open for July, pretty much.
I'll probably be open, but then I will miss the 13th and the 20th.
Okay, good to know. So literally the Christmas special, and then you'll be gone. That's like a firm. You're gone for those.
Yeah, because I'll be out of town and volunteering at a camp, so I won't even have internet.
Oh yeah. So gosh, we'll get Voyage of the Damned. We'll get Christmas is coming up. We thought it was canceled, but apparently nope. It's next week.
Ooh.
And then, as I said, actually the most viewed episode of Doctor Who in its history. Okay. I am like 95% sure it's not some rerun of Pyramids of Mars. It's that. But so arguably Doctor Who's peak next week, depending on how you want to measure it. Like its viewership peak for a single episode is Voyage of the Damned. I'm sure that's the modern peak at the very least. And then we'll go straight into season 4, which is a highlight. It's like 1, 4, and either 5 or 6, I think, are like the top ones in people's books. We get Donna's back. You get a life update from Donna, who that's, if you don't remember, hey, we'll get there. And what even is? Let me give you the tease. You know what? Let's get the tease. We got Voyage of the Damned. There's Time Crash. I think we might watch that for fun. Google it. Doctor Who Time Crash. It's 8 minutes. There you go. Martha leaving the TARDIS. Like, it's fun. 5 and 10. Where's Sam? You then get Partners in Crime with the Adipose. The Pompeii
I love
one.
the Adipose.
Yeah. You got the Ood. The Sontaran ones.
I don't know.
That's kind of where we're starting. The Doctor's Daughter, Unicorn and the Wasp. Here's a spicy one. Actually, this is a strong one. Unicorn and the Wasp. The Library.
I love the Library.
Midnight. That's going to be interesting with the Well. Turn Left. Honestly, that stretch might be better than Blink, Family of Blood, Utopia.
I'm excited. I recognize some of those episodes, and I like them.
Unicorn and the Wasp is one of those where, like, it's nothing special. It's just a really good Doctor Who story. But, like, it's not really... sometimes that happens. It's just like a 10 out of 10, but, like, normal story. The Library, Midnight, Turn Left. Honestly, I'm less big on the finale, but hey.
I'm excited.
We'll get there. It's a good season. It's other than like 1, it probably is my favorite. At least like it's consistently strong. I think the Sontaran one's probably the weakest, but like it's not bad. Maybe Doctor's Daughter, but a lot of this I haven't seen. Actually, that's a lie. I watched most of this season before the 60th. I actually think I did the first part of the Library, but never finished it. And I watched Midnight after The Well, because my wife and I are like, let's just watch Midnight. But yeah, it's a good one. And then we'll be nearing the end of Davies. We'll be nearing the end of Tennant. But Also, that's like month 1, 1, 2, 3, month 2, month 3, month 4. That's like 4 months, assuming we don't skip anything else. Is that even the end of the year? That's October. We would have finished 10 by the end of the year. We still would in a perfect world, but
we'll find the time to
so
miss.
many. We can only miss. How many specials are there? Will be 4. I think we've got like a month or 2. We've got 2 months of missed time. We have 7 weeks if there actually is a Christmas special. So, but we're looking at Matt Smith around, the turn of the year. But who knows what could come up in that time. So I will say thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.